She always believed her husband hated surprises, that grand gestures were not his style. But on their anniversary, he led her to a place she never imagined, one he had been secretly building for years. The moment the doors opened, everything she thought she knew about him and about their life together was shattered in the most beautiful way possible. She was about to walk into a dream she didn't even know existed.
Hello, my friends. I am Olivia, and this is Olivia's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I always thought our life together was predictable. Not boring exactly, but comfortable, in that quiet, routine way that feels safe, but sometimes leaves your heart whispering for more. My name is Emma, and for years I had poured myself into building a life with my husband, Daniel, filled with small joys. Sunday morning pancakes, late-night movies under blankets, and long drives with no destination. But deep down, I carried a quiet longing for wonder, for a moment that would make me gasp, for a spark that reminded me of why I fell in love with him in the first place. Daniel was not a man of surprises. He claimed he hated them. Birthdays were celebrated with a simple dinner at home, and anniversaries rarely went beyond a handwritten card and a bouquet of flowers. I accepted it. I told myself it was just who he was, and I learned to hide my small pangs of disappointment. Still, my heart always secretly dreamed of something more, something extraordinary. Our 10th anniversary was coming up, and I had been bracing myself for another quiet evening. I even joked with him earlier that week, "Don't think you can surprise me, I know you too well." He had smiled, that gentle, knowing smile of his, and said, "I told you I hate surprises." I laughed, shaking my head, pretending I didn't wish he would prove me wrong. The morning of our anniversary felt ordinary. I brewed coffee, slid the plate of toast across the table, and watched him sip quietly, eyes distant, perhaps planning a quiet evening as usual. Then, when the clock struck 6, he turned to me with that rare intensity in his gaze. "Emma, I want to take you somewhere," he said softly. There was no trace of mischief, no hint of what lay ahead, only the steady calm I had grown accustomed to. I hesitated, suspicion flickering. "Somewhere?" I asked. "Yes," he said, offering his hand. "Just trust me." As we drove, the city lights blurred into streaks of gold and silver. My pulse quickened, not with dread, but with a flicker of hope I hadn't allowed myself to feel in years. Daniel had never done anything like this. The road stretched ahead, twisting through quiet neighborhoods, until finally he pulled into a secluded path flanked by towering oaks, and there it was. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. It was enormous, bigger than any house I had ever imagined for us. Brick and glass, with soft lights glowing in every window, a garden winding around the sides, and a fountain that seemed to shimmer with its own quiet magic. My mind spun. "Daniel, did you—" My words faltered. He nodded, a small, almost shy smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "I've been building it. For us." The front door swung open. The air inside smelled of fresh wood, paint, and the faintest hint of jasmine. And as I stepped forward, the reality of what he had done hit me. Every careful plan, every secret hour, every silent sacrifice he had made, it was all leading to this. My heart pounded, my eyes filled with tears, and I felt like I was walking into a dream I had never dared to imagine. Then, as I crossed the threshold, the lights flickered, and I noticed something that made my knees weaken, something I wasn't prepared for. The moment I stepped inside, I saw it. Not just a house, but our house. Every detail seemed impossibly personal, as if Daniel had been reading my mind all these years. A grand living room stretched ahead, with floor-to-ceiling windows letting in the soft glow of sunset. A fireplace crackled gently, and on the mantel were tiny framed sketches I had made years ago, places we had dreamed of visiting, little doodles from our early days together. My hands flew to my mouth as tears blurred my vision. Daniel came up behind me, his hand brushing my shoulder. "Do you like it?" His voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of years of secret effort, late nights, and unspoken devotion. I turned to him, eyes wide, and all I could do was nod. "Like it?" I managed to gasp. "Daniel, this is unbelievable. Why?" My words tangled in my throat. He smiled softly, that quiet, tender smile I had loved since our first date. He took my hand and guided me through the house. Every room held a memory or a dream we had shared. The kitchen had a hidden corner with the kind of stove I had always wanted but never dared to ask for. The study was lined with shelves already filled with books I had read aloud to him. The bedroom had soft, pale curtains that fluttered like whispers in the breeze. It was overwhelming, and my heart felt like it might burst. "You didn't have to," I whispered, tears streaming freely now. "I wanted to," he replied, his gaze steady on mine. "I wanted to give you something that shows you everything you mean to me. I wanted to build a home for our dreams, Emma, not just a house, but a place where we can be who we are together, and more than we ever imagined." I clung to him, feeling the strength and vulnerability all at once. "But all this in secret?" I said, my voice trembling. "Years of work? How?" He shrugged, a little embarrassed, but his eyes held a quiet pride. "Every chance I got. Every night. Every weekend. I knew you'd never have expected this. I wanted it to be a true surprise." And then we reached the last room. He pushed the door open, and the light spilling from inside made my heart stutter. It was the room we had always dreamed about, the perfect garden room, walls of glass overlooking a private courtyard. But what made me stop in my tracks wasn't the room itself, it was the centerpiece. In the middle of the room was a table, set for two, surrounded by hundreds of flickering candles, and on the table lay a small, intricately carved box. My fingers trembled as I reached for it, and when I lifted the lid, I froze. Inside was something I had never expected, something that made my hands shake and my breath catch in my chest. Daniel stepped closer, his hand warm against mine. "Happy anniversary, Emma," he said softly. "I wanted the first thing you see in our new home to be something that reminds you of us, of everything we've been through, and everything we still have to look forward to." And at that exact moment, the room seemed to pulse with magic, and I realized my life was about to change in ways I had never dared to imagine. I held the box in my hands, heart hammering so hard I was afraid Daniel might hear it over the gentle flicker of candlelight. Slowly, I lifted the lid all the way, and my eyes widened in disbelief. Inside was a tiny, exquisitely detailed model of our dream house. Every room, every window, every corner painstakingly recreated, and etched into the base were the words, "Built with every moment of love I've ever felt for you." Tears streamed down my face as I looked up at Daniel, who was watching me with a mixture of hope and vulnerability. I had always known he loved me, of course, but this was beyond anything I could have imagined. He hadn't just built a house, he had built a testament to our love, a physical manifestation of every quiet, unspoken devotion he had carried for years. My chest ached, my hands shook, and for the first time in a long while, I felt completely and utterly seen. "Daniel, I don't even know what to say,"
I whispered, my voice trembling with emotion. He reached out, gently brushing the tears from my cheeks. "You don't have to say anything," he murmured. "I just wanted you to know how much you mean to me. I wanted you to feel it in every room, every corner, every moment we spend here." I sank into his arms. The weight of the past 10 years of ordinary, predictable life falling away, replaced by a heady, overwhelming sense of wonder. The house around us felt alive, as if it was breathing with us, echoing our laughter, holding the whispers of dreams we hadn't even dared to voice. I realized then that this wasn't just a home, it was a promise that no matter how ordinary life sometimes felt, our love could always create magic. We moved through the rooms slowly, almost reverently, tracing our fingers along the walls, the furniture, the delicate touches Daniel had added. Each room revealed a new secret, a hidden reading nook with my favorite books, a gallery wall of photos documenting our first decade together, even a small music corner with the piano I had always wanted but thought was impossible. It was like stepping into a world where every desire I had ever whispered in the quiet of my heart had been heard, acknowledged, and brought to life. And yet, even as I marveled at the beauty, even as I let myself be swept up in the wonder, a tiny flicker of fear crept in. This was more than I had ever expected. Could I truly live up to this love? Could I match the devotion that Daniel had shown in secret for all these years? My mind spun with questions, but before I could speak, he took my hand and led me outside. The garden courtyard was bathed in moonlight, the fountain sparkling like liquid silver, the scent of jasmine and roses mingled with the crisp night air. Daniel turned to me, eyes shining, and whispered, "Everything here, it's ours. But it's not just the house, Emma. It's us. I want every moment from now on to feel like this." And as he opened his arms to me, I knew that the life we had, quiet, simple, ordinary, was about to transform into something extraordinary. My heart was ready to leap. But then I noticed a small envelope tucked beside the fountain, addressed to me in Daniel's careful handwriting. My curiosity pricked at me, but a part of me hesitated, sensing that whatever was inside could change everything. I picked up the envelope, my hands trembling as the moonlight glinted off the paper. Daniel watched me silently, his expression a mixture of anticipation and tender nervousness. I slid it open, and inside was a folded piece of paper, simple, yet somehow heavier than anything I had ever held. I unfolded it slowly, and my eyes fell upon the words he had written. "Emma, every day with you has been my dream, but I wanted to give you more than memories. I wanted to give you a home that holds all the love we've shared and all the dreams we've yet to chase. This house, this life, is ours, and I hope it reminds you, always, that you are the heart of everything I am." I couldn't speak. My chest felt impossibly full, and the tears I had tried to contain finally spilled freely. I turned to him, and in that moment, the years of quiet longing, small disappointments, and everyday routines melted away. Here was the man I had loved with my whole heart, not just declaring his love, but proving it in a way that words alone could never convey. I threw myself into his arms, the envelope slipping to the ground as I wrapped myself around him. "Daniel, all of this, I don't even have words," I sobbed, my voice breaking. He held me tighter, whispering against my hair, "You don't need words. You just need to feel it. Feel everything I've built. For you, for us." We stayed there for what felt like hours, letting the quiet night wrap around us, letting the fountain's gentle splashes and the soft rustle of leaves fill the space between our racing hearts. Every corner of the house, every hidden nook, every secret Daniel had kept, all of it was a testament to love that was patient, steadfast, and quietly extraordinary. And in that moment, I realized that my longing for wonder, for magic, had always been there, because my heart had known he could create it, even if I never imagined the scale of it. Finally, I pulled back slightly, looking into his eyes, and I saw something there I had never fully understood until now. A depth of devotion that was more than romantic, more than protective. It was transformative. Daniel had not only built a house, he had built a sanctuary for our souls, a place where we could grow, laugh, dream, and live fully, together. "I love you," I whispered, the words trembling from the depth of everything I felt. He smiled, brushing a tear from my cheek. "And I will love you like this every day for the rest of our lives." We stood in the moonlit courtyard, hands entwined, hearts synchronized in a rhythm older than time itself. I felt a profound peace, a joy so intense it was almost dizzying, and I realized that this moment, this house, this love was the answer to the quiet yearning I had carried all those years. Our ordinary life had been transformed into something extraordinary, not by chance, but by a man who understood that true love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's built silently, carefully, and with unwavering devotion. And as we stepped inside, ready to begin our new chapter, I knew that from this night forward, every anniversary, every quiet Sunday morning, every laugh and tear would take on a new meaning, because Daniel hadn't just surprised me, he had shown me the heart of love itself.